Do you want to lose weight but struggle to stay committed to a meal plan because you constantly feel hungry? Does food provide you with comfort when you are bored, angry, lonely, or sad? If so, you are in the right place. My name is Kristen Jones, and I'm a life coach specializing in emotional eating and weight loss, and I'm also a lifelong emotional eater. I want to provide you with information, motivation, and support so you too can learn to manage your issues with food and develop a healthy relationship with yourself. Welcome to the Breakthrough Emotional Eating Podcast. Hi, and welcome to the Breakthrough Emotional Eating Podcast. My name is Kristen Jones, and I am so happy that you are here spending the next few minutes with me. And we're going to talk about motivation today. So the title of this podcast is Got Motivation? So in today's episode, you are going to learn where true motivation comes from, and it's that motivation, where it comes from, drives the actions that you take. You're also going to learn that internal motivation is the best way to get things done. Also, to know why, you need to know your why and make it a hard why. And I'll explain what a hard why is. And then lastly, how obstacles can help you stay motivated to maintain your progress towards working towards your goal. If you are not a member of the Breakthrough Emotional Eating community, please, we would love to have you. I would love to have you be a member of the community. Please go to Facebook, www.facebook.com/groups/food-breakthrough, and join our community of like-minded individuals who are working towards addressing and managing their issues with emotional eating, as well as losing weight. It's an incredible community of supportive individuals who are there to uplift and just really help each other get through just, again, the struggles of life and the struggles of being an emotional eater, as well as the trials and tribulations of weight loss. So we'd love to have you there. So please come and join us. As I do every week, it's time for our client shout out. And my client shout out today goes to Lynette. And I think it's Malat. I think that's how we say your last name, Lynette. But Lynette is one of my mind, body, and emotion weight loss system clients. And Lynette has done an amazing job with not only seeing physical transformation, but also mental and emotional transformation. She has embraced all of the aspects of the program and has really done an amazing job with really thinking things through and using her mind and using her thoughts to really propel her forward in addressing her eating issues, as well as just other things that are going on in her life. And I'm so incredibly proud of her. And Lynette, I think you're just amazing. I love what you're doing, and I want you to keep it up. And I so enjoy working with you. So again, thank you so much for being a part of not only our larger community, but also for just being the very special person that you are. So again, thank you so much for everything that you bring to the community, as well as what you've brought to my life in addition. So today on the podcast, we are going to talk about motivation. I think motivation is something that so many people will ask about and will talk about saying, well, I really need motivation. I can't find my motivation. Well, I hate to tell y'all, but the motivation, the only place it's going to come from is within you. So we're going to talk about 4 things today. And the first thing we're going to talk about is where motivation comes from, where true motivation originates. And truly, motivation originates in you, and it originates in your brain, and it originates in your thoughts. Because every action that we do, whatever we're doing, whatever we're working towards, all of our actions are driven by our emotions. We don't do anything unless it's backed by an emotion. And if you've been following the podcast and you've been in my group and you've been listening to me for a while, you know that our emotions don't come from any place other than from our thoughts. So we create our emotions, and we create the emotions that we either want or don't want to have. And for some people, it's hard to take responsibility for that. It's hard to take responsibility when you're not feeling good and realizing that it's your thoughts that are creating that. It's not what's going on around you, it's your thoughts. So when people say, well, I really need motivation to lose weight, or I really need motivation to get out there and exercise. No, what you need to do is you need to change your thoughts. And your thoughts need to be, I want to exercise. I want to lose weight. And this is what I'm going to do to make that happen. And I know for some reason, I think as human beings, I think we always want to point the finger at other people, that it's other people are going to help motivate us. Intrinsic motivation that comes from within you, is the most powerful thing that can drive you forward. And so really, if you don't feel motivated, you need to look at the thoughts that you're having. If you keep thinking, it's so hard for me to do this, this is so hard for me, I have such a hard time, then you're darn right, you're going to have a hard time. Like, I can't start a diet. If you can't start a diet, if you keep telling yourself that, you're not going to start a diet. You're not going to start changing how you eat. So everything originates in our thoughts, and the thoughts are exclusive to you, and you get to think them and you get to create them. So my question would be, what thoughts do you want to create? What thoughts are going to be thoughts that you're going to be able to create, that are going to get you moving forward? Because the only place that they can come from is from within you. So that's our first thing. I know sometimes that's really hard for people to grasp, but it's the reality. Second thing, internal motivation that comes from within you, and those thoughts that you have, the thoughts that we have about doing something for ourselves, has to come from a place where we love ourselves. So really, motivation starts with self-love. It starts with how we feel about ourselves, because how we feel about ourselves generates the thoughts that we have and generates the emotions that then cause us to take those actions to move forward. If we're not feeling good about ourselves, if we're not saying positive things about ourselves, if we're not thinking positive things about ourselves, we are certainly not going to want to be feeling good. We're not going to be feeling good. We're not going to take actions that we need to take to move forward. So that really means that we have to work on our self-love. We have to work on how we feel about ourselves. And I know sometimes so many people will say, well, when I love myself, I'll be able to. I really want to love myself. And y'all, it starts by your thoughts. It can start right now in this instant. Right now, you can start loving yourself by the thoughts that you think about you and about your situation and who you are currently right now in this very exact moment. So we've got to stop thinking that it's somewhere down the line, it's some elusive thing that if we were just better, we'd get there. No, you're there. You have it in you. You can absolutely do it in this exact moment in time. You want to start loving yourself? Start right now. Start right now. Tell yourself something that you love about yourself. That's what needs to happen. Okay, we have to stop looking outside of ourselves. And we really have to start now realizing that it's our responsibility. If we don't like how we're feeling, we need to change it. We need to make that happen. And so if we're not feeling love for ourselves, the only person who can do that is us. We can't wait for the outside to do it. We have to do it ourselves. We have to start loving ourselves, and then have that love be that motivator, those positive thoughts be that motivation to start moving forward. I know I'm being hard today. I'm being kind of not very nice, but that's just, I feel it's time. We got to have some tough love. We got to have some reality checks here. So our third thing is our why. One of the things that I have my clients do every day is every evening, they fill out a daily assessment, and the assessment asks them questions about how their day went. And one of the questions is, why do you need to make these changes? And every day I want my clients to be writing down something to the effect of, I'm doing this because I love myself, because I'm worthy, I deserve it, and I want to be happy. Something to that effect. I want my clients to remind themselves why they're doing this. And they also have to have that why. So one of the things that I would want, if you're a client of mine and you're listening and you're not writing down why you're doing this, I want you to do that. Add that to your list of things that you write down at night of why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you trying to lose weight? Why are you trying to overcome emotional eating? Why are you trying to be a better parent? Why are you trying to be a better spouse, a better partner? What is your motivation? It's got to be a hard why. And when I say a hard why, I mean it's got to be something that you want so badly that there is nothing that thought in your head is to quit is not even, it's not even an option. It's not even an option because you know that what you're doing, the reason why you're doing it is so very important to you. So I'm going to give you an example of that. So when I left my teaching job and I started my business, and I don't talk about this very much, but one of the reasons why I did this was because it was very important to me. Both my parents are in their early 80s, and it's important to me that it became very evident as I was, and many of you know, I lost my brother a number of years ago. And so having lost a very close family member for me, it makes me much more aware of the importance of my family. I've always been very close with my family, but when my brother passed away, it really brought my family together. And I know that I'm not going to have my parents around much longer. So I know that my motivation for having my business and having my business be successful is twofold. One, I wanted to have a business. I wanted to have a job and a career and a life that if something were to happen, that I was always able to be available to my parents, that if they needed me, I could be there. I could get in the car and I could drive. My parents live about 2.5 hours away from me. And I knew that that was something that was really important to me, that I be available to them. And the other piece is that I want to be able to help support them. I want to be able to support them financially as they get older, as they're aging and make their last years of their life as enjoyable as possible. I don't want them to have to worry about money. They had to worry about money, when we were growing up, and they've been incredibly generous with myself and with all of their kids. But and they deserve it. They deserve to get that back and to be taken care of. And so that's my motivation. That's my hard why. Like my business not being successful is not even an option. It's not something I won't even entertain. It's that important. They are that important to me that I want to make sure that they know that I'm there for them. And so for me, that's the driving force. That's what gets me up every morning. It gets me doing what I do, making my podcast, doing whatever it is that I do, running my group. All of that is driven because I want to be there for my parents the way they were there for me. And I want to be available to them while they are in the latter years of their lives. So that's my hard why. And it drives me every single day. And one of the great things is about having, the business that I have is like on Monday, for instance, I got to take my parents to a doctor appointment, and I was able to, I was able to rearrange my schedule to make it so I could stay up with them and get up in the morning and drive them to the doctors and be there and be able to listen in on the doctor's appointment with them and be a part of things. And that's super important to me because they did that for me all my life. So it's time to give back. So that is an example of a hard why. It's that thing that won't let you quit. And lastly, I think in order to maintain motivation, we need to start looking at obstacles in a different way. Because, anything that you try to do, any goal you try to reach, whatever it is, there's going to be obstacles. And instead of looking at them as obstacles, and really what we need to do is ahead of time, we need to try and figure out, we need to think ahead because we all know what's going to happen. We most of the time know, we can anticipate what some of those obstacles may be that may prevent us from reaching our goals. And so what we need to do is we need to start looking at obstacles instead of obstacles that we can't overcome. We need to look at them and come up with strategies in order to work around them, or things that we need to learn Instead of seeing them as obstacles, let's overcome those obstacles and let's learn how we can avoid them, or let's learn how we can overcome them. And so that's, I would really challenge you when you are when you're seeking something, especially like if we're talking about weight loss or we're talking about emotional eating, what are the obstacles that get in your way? And come up with some strategies. What can I do to avoid those obstacles? Or what do I need to learn? Or what do I need to put in place in order to avoid those obstacles so I don't quit? Because quitting is not an option. We need to make sure, we need to trust ourselves. And when we say we're going to do something, we need to follow through on that. And so, and that's more following through for ourselves, not answering to anybody else, but answering to yourself and realizing that you are the person that you need to answer to. Nobody else. It's all about you, because ultimately the only person you're going to be left with is yourself. And so your motivation not only needs to start with you and come from inside, but the end result needs to be all about you too. All right, so there is my spiel on motivation. It's all about you. Pretty much that's the summary. The summary is it's all about you. So again, you've got all of our motivation comes from our thoughts, drives our actions, and gets us to do things. So we've got to start thinking more positively. We've got to come from that place of self-love. We've got to remember what our why is and have that why drive us. And then we need to, instead of looking at obstacles as being things that we can't overcome or things that are going to stop us from achieving what we want, we need to look at them, come up with strategies, and then things that maybe we need to learn in order to overcome them. And the feeling of overcoming an obstacle is like nothing else. And that's really what will continue to drive you and continue to have you moving towards that goal that you're working towards. So again, thank you so much. As I say every week, love having you all here. Thank you so much for spending a few moments of your day with me. And I certainly hope that you got something out of this and that you can really start to look at motivation in a very different way and look at it as coming from something that gets to come exclusively from you. It's all about you, baby. Not very many times in our lives do we get to hear that, but this is all about you. So if you are listening, again, if you're listening on the podcast and you are not a member of my Breakthrough Emotional Eating Facebook group, I would love to have you join. Again, the address www.facebook.com/groups/food breakthrough, or just go into Facebook and search Breakthrough Emotional Eating and click on groups, and my group will show up, and I'd love to have you there. So again, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all next week.